I've been at school now for a couple of months, and I've been recording these videos, and people walk by and they see me in a classroom talking to a video camera, and they kind of want to know what I'm up to. So this is an explanation as to why I am flipping my classroom. It's something I haven't done yet, but with my training that I've been getting and my expectations, this is why I plan on doing it this year. First, I want to look at the time aspect. Now, I looked at our classes, and our blocks last about 88 minutes. So we almost have an hour and a half of time. And if you look at that time as far as a typical classroom, my classroom last year, I would spend 10 minutes in the warm-up and the bell ringer and getting attendance. And I would spend 10 minutes as a wrap-up. So that's 20 minutes gone already. And then if I take a look at how much time I spent giving background information and lectures and definitions and notes, and I have to give all this information to students first before I can get on with how we're going to use it, I used up maybe about 30 minutes of that time giving them the background information for whatever it was we were going to do that day. And then that left me with about 38 minutes of application. If we're doing a science lab, that's 38 minutes to get set up, to do whatever it was we were exploring that day, and to get torn down again so that my next class can do the same thing. Then the class after that. If you're looking at social studies, that left 38 minutes to work with the maps and to explore these areas if I could get into a computer lab. Now this year we're going to have iPads for the first time for every student. So having that time for application, I don't have to sign out a lab and I can only get there 2 or 3 times a week. I can now apply what it is these students are learning every single day if they need the computer. Now, this is the way I looked at it in my flipped classroom. I'll have my same 10 minutes of warm-up and wrap-up, but I'm also going to have more than an hour of time for application. Now, where does that time come from? Well, these videos, like the one you're watching right now, is exactly what I'm going to be giving students for homework. Their videos will have definitions, background information, the notes they need to come in the next day and apply whatever it is they need to do. Now, the biggest question I get all the time is, what if students don't have access at home? What if they don't have the internet or a computer? That's fine. This process still works. I can take those students and have them watch the video lecture at the very beginning and maybe this 10-minute warm-up time, and then they can come back and join us for any of the application. I'll have my students broken up into groups so that they can talk and work with one another and discuss whatever it is that they are working on in the previous night's lectures. Now, these 2 chunks of time don't take into consideration the interruptions that are going to happen, whether it's announcements or students or other teachers coming in, or behavior, goodness forbid. If there's any behavior problems that have to be dealt with, that comes out of the chunks of time here. And also, questions that students might have in class. Now this one's kind of funny because the questions students might have in class, I can now meet with students a little bit more individually, and I'll show you how that works a little bit later. So this is the way I looked at my classroom. I looked at it as this big, large plateau where we have some students that are trying to get up to the top, and we have some students that are already on their way down. Now these students here, they maybe are struggling learners, the ones that need more individualized attention and time. These students up here maybe are typical learners, the ones that when they watch something, yeah, they get it, and they're going to start to apply it and learn from those applications. And these students might be our advanced learners. They got it, they understood it, and now they're ready to move on. Now, how do I address all 3 of these? In my previous classroom, it was a lot of time taken out of maybe some of the application so I can work with individual students. And I wanted to build more time. So that's why flipping my classroom is going to allow that to happen. With the students watching the lectures at home, they come in with the knowledge they need, and they get right to work on whatever it is task I have them doing that day, or tasks. There's going to be several around the room that they're going to be working on to deepen their understanding of whatever concept we're talking about. Now, that allows me time to go to different groups and work with different groups. If it's our struggling learners here, I can sit down with them and maybe review the notes with them. What is it they didn't understand? What is it that I can help them with? With our typical learners here, I have time to meet with them and make sure that their understanding is correct and it's strong, and we're working on getting them down the slope here. And then with our advanced learners, I have time to push them and make them try and understand a topic in more depth. Have them doing exactly what I'm doing here. A student giving a lecture like this requires them to have a very strong understanding of all their content. And then, finally, what is flipping the classroom going to do for me and my students? Well, it's going to make me focus more. I'm going to focus more on my lessons. A lecture like this is going to last, this one's a little bit longer, but a typical lecture lasts anywhere between 4 to 6 minutes. Now that's 4 to 6 minutes. If you remember that last circle time thing I showed you, there was 30 minutes before. I'm taking all that other time out of the classroom and allowing them more time to apply what they know and what they've learned. Now I try and think back to, that doesn't seem fair. I condensed what I did down to 6 minutes, what it used to take me 30 minutes to do. What have I been doing? So I think it's going to allow me time to have less lecture and more application. And then students are going to be able to look at things in more depth. Students are also going to get more individualization. I'm going to be able to meet with students in smaller groups or one-on-one a lot more often. And that allows me to better know the student and how that student learns. And videos like this also allow me to, I should have put parents here as well. You can watch these lectures as well, and you will understand hopefully what it is we're doing in class. And then finally, as a profession, it's going to allow me to focus more on my own teaching. Watching these videos back has been a big eye-opener. I didn't want to record these videos in the first place. I wanted to maybe record my voice or use a different type of screencast that allowed me to show my notes and maybe talk over them, but not be on camera myself. By doing this, I am able to see how I come across to students, how my information gets to them, and whether or not it's effective. And if it's not, I just simply reach over, I hit stop, and I reflect and re-record whatever it is I need to do. And also in this process, this summer, I've found that I think this type of teaching is going to be more rewarding. I'm going to be able to meet with students and know them much better. And I think by freeing up so much time, it's going to allow me to explore topics with students more in depth than I ever have before. So those are the reasons I flip my classroom, and I will do another one of these videos at the end of this year to see how well it's gone.